For a long time of the internet, there has been numerous stories of different creepypastas, ranging from Jeff the Killer to Slenderman to Lavender Town from Pokemon. But today's story we'll be talking about Hunter Cartridge. His name is Ben Drowned. Sit down, relax, and enjoy the story as we deep dive in this creepy story. Enjoy. The story starts off with a kid moving to a dorm where he's starting off as a sophomore in college, where a friend of his gave him his old Nintendo 64. He was excited to play the games that he hadn't touched in years. The console came with a yellow controller and a copy of Super Smash Bros. He got bored fighting with computer players, so later that week, he went off, driving off campus to a local garage sales. He ended up picking 3 video games, which were Pokemon Stadium, GoldenEye, and F-Zero. He as well managed to get 2 other controllers satisfied with his items he received. There was one more house that caught the person's attention. He decided to go to the house where an old man came and greet him. The old man smiled and asked what the person was looking for. That's when the person noticed that one of the old man's eyes was blind. The person asked the old man if he had any video games with him, and to his surprise, he did. So the old man decided to go to the back of his garage and fetch some. When the person was looking through the old man's items, the old man appeared and handed him a Nintendo 64 cartridge. The person noticed that it was in a gray color with the word Majora written with permanent marker. Stunned to see, he asked the old man how much he wanted the game for. The old man smiled and told him that he could get the game for free. The old man told him that it used to belong to a kid his age, but doesn't live there anymore. Once the person got the game, he thanked the old man and went off to the car. At first, the person thought the old man said goodbye, but that didn't click with him clearly. So when the person booted up the game, there was a file that said Ben. The old man was saying goodbye, Ben. Goodbye, Ben. The person was curious and was looking at Ben's save file. He noticed that Ben was pretty far with the game, where he had almost all the masks collected and had 3 out of 4 bosses left. He noticed that he used an owl statue to save his game. He was on the 3rd day, and just 1 hour left to the moon would crash. He was so close to finishing the game, yet he never did. To go with tradition, the person named his file Link. As he started playing the game, he was impressed on how smooth the game was running. But there would be times where certain game texture would appear and random flashes. But the one that was unnerving for the person is that the NPC will sometimes call him Link, and other times would be Ben. The person thought this was a glitch, an error, but the developers where both save files would mix with each other. The person had enough when he would beat the Wolfhall Temple, where he decided to delete the save file. He originally kept the save file out of respect for the original owner, but decided to delete it after the events were happening to him. He thought this would solve the problem for the person, but instead, the NPC wouldn't call his name and would be a blank space. He was frustrated what was occurring to him and decided to put down the game for today. The person returned back, playing the game where he obtained an item which was the Lens of Truth, and was on his way to the Snowhead Temple. There was a glitch where you could do it in the game where you could get a 4th day. You talked to an astronomer, but you had to time it at the right time to work. The person decided to perform this trick where he managed to successfully pull it on his first try. When he pressed the B button to return to talk to the astronomer, the person was found in the Majora boss fight room at the end of the game where Skull Kid was floating above him. This made the person nervous. He tried moving around and yet nothing happened for 60 seconds and thought that the game was bugged out. He got a message, but the message came from a certain room. But why was it playing it here? A few seconds passed and had the option to go back to the temple boss. He thought of clicking no, but when the game didn't allow him, he took a deep breath and chose yes. This led to the screen to turn white and the words "Dawn of a New Day" appeared. The person walked out of Clock Tower like you normally do when you start a new cycle. But the difference is that all the inhabitants are gone. Everything was gone. Nothing to be seen here. Only the feeling of being watched. The most chilling thing to occur to him was the song. The song was the song of healing, but played backwards. The music would play louder and louder, like something was going to appear, but nothing did. The person started hearing the Happy Mac salesman in the background, which gave him determination to find him. At the end, he couldn't find him. It made him feel hopeless, alone, afraid. The person tried leaving the place with no use. He tried leaving Clocktown, but would return to the original place or other parts of the place. He tried playing the ocarina, where he played Song of Time or Song of Sorry, which only resulted in saying, your notes echo far, but nothing happens. The person was scared, but had a plan. He decided to drown the character in order for him to disappear from this location, but that resulted in the Happy Mac salesman appearing. That's where it came. A statue of the character appeared, a statue that had a horrific expression. It was terrifying to see. The person was terrified of what just occurred, but every time the person would go in a location, the statue would follow him. It's like the game was haunting the player. The character started glitching around, and the Happy Mac salesman would sometimes appear. Was terror the person experiencing? He never had the thought of turning off the system and proceeding. The person moved the character to the Swords Master Dojo place and ran there to hide. Once the person was about to leave from this area, the statue once again appeared. The person tried to attack with his sword, but there was no use. He just stared at the statue to just kill him, but that didn't happen. The person tried to leave, but with no use, it also did not happen. Instead, the game took the person to the underground tunnel, where the song once again started playing backwards. The person went forward, but the statue started to follow him more aggressively. The person managed to leave and exit the underground tunnel, till the screen faded black and said, Dawn of a New Day. The person appears back on top of the clock tower, where the skull kid was flying on top of him. Almost everything seemed back to normal, but the song, the Stone Tower Temple theme, was playing in reverse. In a desperate attempt, the person tried firing bows on the skull kid and some text appeared. That's when the person was picked up from the ground, levitated, and was burst into flames, killing him instantly. The person tried once again, but the same thing occurred to him. In his third and final try, he decided to use Ocarina to throw it back or to summon the giants. So when he attempted to play the Song of Time, he exploded to flames and ended up killed before playing the final note. When the screen appears, the person was found on the floor, unable to move anywhere. The game fades out and the screen with the text appears, saying, You met with a terrible fate, haven't you? And gets moved to the title screen. The person went to check in the game menu, and that's where his save file was gone, nowhere to be seen, but was replaced with Your Turn. The person clicked on the file where it was the character body on the floor, while Skull Kid was laughing in the background. The person restarted the game, and Ben's save file once appeared, like nothing was touched. The person couldn't get to sleep after the event and decided to show up with a buddy of his to the old man's house. There was a for sale sign, and there was no one no home. That left the person with unanswered question. Here are some of the footage that occurred throughout his gameplay.
After the tragic events that occurred to a person when a person went off to sleep, he had nightmares about the statue. The person would be fooling himself until a moment when he would turn and see the horrific statue standing behind him. The person went off to the area where the old man lived, and once again, there was no sight of the old man. The old man's neighbor, however, was there cutting the grass. The neighbors noticed him, and the person asked if he knew anything about the old man. After getting some information about the old man, he followed up by asking if he knew who Ben was. That brought a grin to the neighbor, and said that the accident occurred to Ben, but no more was said. Later that day, the person went home and booted up the game, where he noticed how different the title screen felt. In the game menu, he noticed everything was left how it was before. The two files, which were Your Turn and Ben, were still there, but the file of Ben was off-putting. Somehow he or it manages to complete the Stone Tower Temple, so without any second thought, he proceeds to choose the file. Once the game is loaded, he notices that the place wasn't called Stone Tower Temple, but just stone. The character was also distorted and the text box was gibberish. A few minutes later, the statue once again appears, and dawn of day. The game loaded, where the character was converted back to somewhat normal. As usual, everything was going normal, but the character companion text was broken with the laughter of the happy masked salesman in the background. As the world in front of him was glitching out, he had no other choice and went inside the clock tower. There, the happy masked salesman greets him with, "You've met a terrible fate, haven't you?" And the screen turns white. While he spawned, he was in the field with no sign of a clock or timer. just a twisted version of the Happy Mask Salesman theme. There was originally planning on going to the woodfall until he noticed the character horse and three strange figures standing in the distance. As the person got closer to the figures, it was shown that it was a Happy Mask Salesman, Skull Kid, and the statue itself. He noticed none of them were moving and just standing there, but out of the three, the Happy Mask Salesman was the one that terrified him. Whenever he moved the character, the Happy Mask Salesman would move his face, keeping an eye on the character. Without communicating with the salesman, he decides to play the ocarina, where a ding noise appears. He tried playing a song he hasn't played yet, which was the Happy Mask theme song, and the song that was playing in reverse, the song of Heyo. Once played, everything started to shift. A high pitch appeared, and the sky was flashing. The song was sped up, and the character was on the floor burning up while the three were standing and watching. A few moments later, the text appears. You've met a terrible fate, haven't you? After the text fades away, the character is shown being transformed. The person wanders off in the beach where he saw his horse. He couldn't take off his mask, which resulted in the character to stay that way. The horse was acting strange where it was pointing in a certain direction. He decided to check it out. To his surprise, he found another statue. The character started doing a choking animation, which wasn't originally in the game, which resulted in the character to choke and die below the statue. He didn't respond, but instead was sent into the game menu once again. He checked the game menu where a new file appeared. Drowned. On top of Ben, drowned.
He sees the statue everywhere he goes now. He couldn't sleep, didn't go to his classes, and kept the window shut. He is scared for his life. The video game has changed the person's way of reality. He feels, knows that the game is stalking him. He feels like the game is watching everything he does, even though he doesn't have it on. He gets terrible nightmares of the statue, and it's no longer communicating about the game, but in the real world as well. He wants his old life back. He wants to go back home. To go hug his mother again and just to be a kid once again. He feels paranoid of the statue. When he clicks in the game file, his save file is back, but is too scared to continue.
Watch out!
As the days go by, there is no response from him, till the roommate comes and gives what's going on. The roommate tells everyone that Judu's boy is good, and that he is moving out to go back to his parents. He decided to take the semester off, but the roommate was unsure why. Later on, we hear the point of view of the roommate, and how he hasn't really been staying with the kid. He went to go live in one of his friend's dorm. He would visit the kid, or his dorm, when he needed something. He would try to talk to the kid, but every time he would cut him off or the conversation would be brief. He described the kid as dead, since he had horrible bags under his eyes. One moment, the roommate went to go get a book of his, so the kid went and approached him, giving him a flash drive. The kid was getting picked up by his parents, so he gave him very special instruction. The kid told the roommate to post the videos that he had made where it had his YouTube channel. He was told to upload everything he had. The kid told the roommate that he was getting out of there due to the game trying to lure him to play. The roommate asked him why he couldn't do it himself, where the kid responded that he was never looking at that game again. That was the last thing they told each other, and when the kid's parents came to pick him up, he didn't even say goodbye. On the flash drive, there was gameplay footage of the game. the text document containing information, and another document called the truth.txt, where he kept notes. The kid told the roommate to follow the instructions carefully with a dead serious face, knowing this was a real thing. The roommate didn't know how to use the website and needed to ask for help. After that, the roommate followed the request of the kid.
As the roommate kept his promise, he went on to post the documents as he was told. All the notes he kept were made for everyone to see for themselves.
108 minutes later, a new video was uploaded to the YouTube channel titled free.wmv, where it left this message.
That's all what we have for today. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. And also, I want to give a quick shout out to Henry for doing the research part with me, and also Vanessa for doing